Norita Dittberner-Jax. Oh, here we go. Norita Dittberner-Jax was born in Frogtown and has lived in St. Paul all of her life. She thinks the city is beautiful, with the hills and flatlands congregating around the Mississippi River. Her widely published poetry collections include The Watch, Longing for Home, and What They Always Were. Her fourth collection of poetry, Stopping for Breath, will be published by Noted Press in the fall of 2014. Please welcome Norita.
Thank you. The poem in Almanac is on page 229. It's called November 22nd, 1963. Some of you probably watched the Roosevelt series. My parents knew exactly where they were when Franklin Roosevelt died. My generation knows exactly where it was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. This is where I was. November 22nd, 1963. I cut my 1 o'clock class feeling feverish and unable to swallow and walked to the doctor's office off campus. The sky lay heavy over bare trees. If only it would snow, anything to soften the air. At the office, I waited my turn. The clerk had the radio on, and suddenly I heard the bulletin that President Kennedy had been shot in Dallas. Further details to follow, the announcer said. I was called in to see the doctor, whom I knew from my job at the hospital. I chose him because he seemed sensitive. He looked at my throat, asking me if I had contact with anybody with mono, and felt my glands in my neck. As he was tearing the paper off the cotton swab for the culture, I said, "The president was shot." He said, "Serves him right," and swabbed my throat. I think I just have never forgotten that. It was such a chill that went through me, that still goes through me. There was hatred afoot in this country, and that's what he was up against. I'm going to read a few other poems from Stopping for Breath, which indeed just did come out. And this one is called The Neighbor Speaks. This is what we call a found poem. I wrote it down exactly as my old neighbor said it. And I asked permission if I could use it here. The Neighbor Speaks. I'm licensed now. Someone in the neighborhood reported me to the city. 11 altogether, Persians and calicos, Siamese, and their kittens. How did I get so many? Let me tell you one story. I was feeding this calico. Every day she came to the door. I let her in, fed her. She looked around and then walked out. One rainy night, I was watching the Twins game, and I heard this scratching. I went to the door, and there she was with 3 babies. I kept them all. I guess she was inspecting the place, like the city. This poem is called Stepdog. It's the only dog I ever had. When I married for the second time, my husband had Muffin, and that was my dog. This poem is written in the voice of the dog, Stepdog. I was the only dog she knew, none in the childhood that she remembers. The best times were riding in the back seat of the old Plymouth station wagon, spinning down country roads, gravel flying from the wheels, her face in the fur of my neck, my nose to the wind. My nose to the wind, her face in the fur of my neck, gravel flying out from the wheels, spinning down country roads, riding in the old Plymouth, the back seat, the best times. None in the childhood that she remembers. I was the only dog she knew. Some of you have probably given blood. I was giving blood very regularly when my brother needed blood, and they keep calling me because I'm a universal donor. So this poem is called Universal Donor. No one will ever get sick from my blood. I have the best blood, prize blood, O negative blood. I started donating when my brother needed pint after pint. Although he didn't get my blood, I don't donate every 56 days. And sometimes I think I've given enough. It's fine to be a universal donor, but it's not as if I'm helping my brother. I'm just adding to the walk-in refrigerator with units of blood immaculately given and stored by type. The room of the gurneys is quiet today. The nurse relaxed as he swabs my arm with iodine. I start rolling the gauze back and forth in my hand, helping the flow along. The nurse talks easily. He tells me that my blood will be used for newborns. The movie projector in my mind starts rolling. I've had 3 newborns. I saw their spidery veins. I know they were born too soon, even full term. Too delicate for this world. I watched the bag filling the bag of my blood, so like the shape of the heart, pumping, pumping. And this poem is called Africa. I just think I have to read any poem that starts with Africa because our continent is suffering so terribly. This isn't about Ebola. The poem is called Africa. When I first sponsored a child, I put his photo in a frame on the piano with the other children in the family, but that boy disappeared. Another was assigned, then another. I do not know what happens to the children. Maybe they grow up. The thread between us is thin. Nothing I do does much good. I have the name of one boy, Tokozani Maseki of Malawi, a boy of 10, 1 of 10 million. His favorite food is bananas, favorite color red, like the soccer ball he drew. I can see his smile from my desk, where I write his poem. And I'll close with a poem called The Uses of Autumn. I was doing this morning, raking the leaves. I don't, we just live on a narrow city lot, 40 feet. And we don't actually have oak trees, but both neighbors on either side have oak trees, and there's oak trees across the street. So I am always doing the work of the oak trees. And really, I don't know what I'd do without them, but it's kind of a lot in the fall. The uses of autumn. The oaks have shaken loose their millions. When I step from the garage on gray afternoons, the leaves rise up in brilliance. As girls, my friend and I made leaf houses, marking off rooms, piles of leaves for the couch, the bed. A brief career as architects before fathers gathered the leaves to be burned. Our work gone up in smoke. I combed the earth with long sweeps, leaving the ground bare and flat. Above me the limbs of the oak frame the sky, holding it day after day, steady. Thank you.
Thank you.